on the bottom of like a small boat. So just calm down and like there's no fighting at this point. So I just calmed down.
Latifa says she was transferred to an Indian military ship.
The commandos carried me through this corridor and to a big room. And there was in front of me like maybe 4 or 5 generals. So I'm repeating to them, my name is Latifa Al Maktoum. I want to go to Dubai. I want to get asylum. I was in international waters. You should let me go. Blah, blah, blah. Kept going. I did not stop. I kept going. I see a private jet in front of me. At that point, I said no. Like, I'm not going to voluntarily go.
She says she was then manhandled by an Emirati commando.
He grabs me and he lifts me up. And I'm like kicking and fighting, and he's much bigger than me. So I see that his sleeve is rolled up and his arm is exposed. So I said, okay, you have 1 shot. So I just bite him as hard as I can and shake my head. And he screamed. The same guy tranquilized me again. They put me on a stretcher. And as they were carrying me up the steps of the private jet is when I passed out. Like, I lost consciousness. All I remember was the rocking and seeing the stairs, and then I just passed out. When I woke up, the private jet had already landed in Dubai. I just felt really sad at that point. Like, I felt everything I was, I've been here ever since. I've been by myself, solitary confinement, no access to medical help, no trial, no charge, nothing.
Nine months after Latifa was returned to Dubai, the UAE was facing intense pressure. The UN was asking for proof that Latifa was alive, or they'd go public with concerns she might have died. The Sheikh's wife, Haya, Latifa's stepmother, now became involved.
She's beautiful, she's sophisticated, she was an Olympian, she was a Goodwill Ambassador at the United Nations, she spoke at many, many conferences.
Haya paid Latifa a visit.
So yeah, on December 6th is when Haya came. She said to me, I found you, like she didn't know where I was. She told me on December 14, would I join her the next day for lunch at her house? And she said to me it would be like a test to see how you will react around people after being in prison for so long. And if you act well, you react well, you're going to be out in a few days. Haya picked me up, we went to her house, and then she said, oh, I have invited some of my friends as well. Like, I hope you don't mind. No, I don't mind.
Those friends included Mary Robinson, a former UN High Commissioner for Human Rights and former President of Ireland. Until now, she has not revealed the full story.
Haya began to explain.
Both Haya and Mary Robinson were spun an elaborate and detailed lie. Latifa wasn't bipolar, but they were presented with details of her medical condition.
They were saying to me, very kind of, in a way that was very convincing, we don't want Latifa to go through any further trauma. She's been through enough trauma. We don't want her to go public. What are we going to do?
Haya introduced Mary, never said that she was the former UN head of human rights, never. If I knew that, of course, like I would have said everything, but no, she never told me that. The topics that we discussed during that lunch were sports, veganism, the environment, nothing outside from that. And Mary kept talking about her book as well. Like, we never discussed me, we never discussed my case.
Do you regret not asking her more directly about her situation?
I thought about it, and I suppose I'm not very familiar with people who are bipolar. I didn't know how to address somebody who was bipolar about their trauma, etc. I decided to give a pass on that. So, I wanted to talk to her doctors, but I really didn't actually want to talk to her and increase the trauma over a nice lunch.
Like, I knew something was going on. We were eating and everything, and then Haya, she said to me, "Oh, this is such a nice lunch. I want to remember it. Will you all lunch? I want to remember it. Will you all come into the living room to take a picture?" And I kept saying to her, I don't really want to. Like, I was being polite. I wasn't saying in front of them, "Hey, I'm a hostage." I was sitting between her and Mary, and I looked at the camera, and my face was like, like this, not smiling or anything. It was all a setup. It was like they tricked me.
I was aware the photograph was being taken because it was going to be part of how we would prove life, how we would prove that she was alive. I then said to them, look, I can write to the UN High Commissioner for Human Rights, Michelle Bachelet, and attach those photographs as proof of life. So I wasn't against the photograph. It was to be a private photograph.
But 9 days later, the UAE Foreign Ministry released the photos to the world.
And I was particularly tricked when the photographs went public, horribly tricked. I mean, that was a total surprise. I was absolutely stunned.
A former UN High Commissioner for Human Rights had been tricked. Alone in the villa by the beach, nothing changed for Latifa.
Then Haya dropped me off here, and I felt so bad, like going out from jail for a few hours and then coming back to this jailhouse. It was such a bad feeling.
I was misled initially by my good friend, Princess Haya, because she was misled. And then, relatively shortly afterwards, I got a call from Haya.
Well, the wife of Dubai's billionaire ruler has reportedly fled to London with her
Dubai's
two
ruler.
children.
She's currently in hiding in London, allegedly in fear for her life.
Today is July 2019, and the major international news is that my stepmother is getting a divorce.
Now, one of the Sheikh's wives had escaped, together with their 2 young children. But once again, it was business as usual for the Sheikh. He hosted prominent female leaders at a global women's forum.
Today, we are here to celebrate all that women are achieving in economies throughout North Africa and the Middle East. We are incredibly grateful to be joined by His Highness Sheikh Mohammed. Your presence here means so much.
Meanwhile, the Sheikh was working to have his 2 children returned to Dubai. He pursued Haya through the English courts. Now his suitability as a father was scrutinized in court, including his treatment of his other children.
Extraordinary and damning allegations of abduction and intimidation.
The judge ruled that the Sheikh had abducted and imprisoned Latifa and had not been open and honest with the court.
It was a big breakthrough for all of us. I thought that would have been a great evidence for the UN to make a public statement, to pressurize the UAE more, or something that could have quickly led to her release. But Latifa was still to pressurize the UAE more, or something that could have quickly led to her release. But Latifa was still held a prisoner. It's almost like what do we need to get her free? It's sad. It's very, very sad.
From her prison, Latifa followed the news, hoping her situation would change. The damning judgment didn't make any difference at all.
I'm really reaching a point now where I'm just getting so tired of everything. It's like a circus. I don't want to be a hostage in this jail villa. I just want to be free. I don't know what they're planning to do with me. I really don't know. So the situation is getting more desperate every day, and I'm just really, really tired of this now.
Over many months, Latifa recorded many videos and exchanged messages daily on her secret phone with Tina, David, and Marcus.
The phone meant a lot. It was a lifeline, and every day was a struggle for her. And you could hear that in her voice. I know she was tired. I know her health was not the best.
If you hadn't have heard from Latifa for a period of time, you would worry. So you were always kind of living on tenterhooks. Then one day we'd pass some messages, and then it's not being received.
The messages were no longer delivered. For several months, there has been no contact with Latifa.
I was hoping that she would just reappear. I didn't want to believe it, but finally that I did. I felt that there were so many things that I should have said. There were so many things that left me with sadness. Like, what if I don't get to speak to her again? We are extremely worried about her well-being. If we assume that she was caught with the phone, her conditions now are probably a lot worse.
Family is, supposed to be there to support you, to help you, to love you, to protect you, not to lock you up. For her, it was, I don't want to hurt anybody in my family. I'm not against my family. I don't want to be involved in the politics. I want to be out of the politics. She wanted a quiet, peaceful life. And that was really important to her.
Since a lot of time has passed, we've taken the decision to release some of this evidence. We haven't taken this decision lightly. There's been some sleepless nights thinking about this, but it's time to do something. I feel that she would want to fight for her and not give up.
The UN has so far made no public statements about Latifa. Tina, Marcus and David hope this evidence will mean that finally the UN will be able to take effective action.
I continue to be very worried about Latifa. Things have moved on. I think it should be investigated.
This is a situation that's utterly intolerable. And, any decent father would end it and let his daughter go.
For me, it's simple. It's like, am I free or am I not free? I'm not free. So, okay, the world is going to know that I'm not free. Anybody who cares is going to know that I'm not free, and I'm not gonna go along with their propaganda. It's just how I am.